Are you prone to feel totally exhausted after having spent time with certain people? Let me share a personal incident that changed my view of energy vampires. Some time ago, I had a close acquaintance who seemed attractive and enthusiastic initially, but over time, I realized that each conversation left me physically exhausted. No matter what we discussed about, it seemed to revert back to their troubles or their drama and their negative attitude. It took me some time to recognize that I had to deal with a liar who was a master at taking the positive energy from every circumstance. Today, we're examining an issue that affects everyone called energy vampires. These are people who, whether they know it or not, drain our energy, making us feel depleted and exhausted. Before we go into the symptoms, let's know what is an energy savage. An energy vampire is a person who absorbs other people's energy, usually leaving them physically and emotionally exhausted. They might not do it in a deliberate manner, but their actions and behavior can have an adverse impact on others who are around them. Let's take a look at the first signs of an energy vampire that you have. Sign 1. A constant negative mood is like the dark clouds that follow certain people wherever they travel. The energy vampires are adept at identifying negatives in any circumstance, regardless of how optimistic or positive it might appear. They frequently complain about insignificant things, slam their peers' accomplishments, and view the glass as half full. Their negative attitude towards life can exhaust others around them, since it can create an atmosphere of despair and despair. In addition, the constant negative energy is not just detrimental to the energy vampires, but affects the energy of people they come in contact with. It's as if you were trapped in a rut of negative energy that even the best moments are masked by criticisms and complaints. In time, being in the presence of someone who continuously radiates negativity can have a negative impact on your emotional and mental well-being, which can leave you feeling tired and drained. It is crucial to identify this indication of an energy-hungry person in the beginning and take action to safeguard your positive outlook and energy. Sign 2. Have you had a conversation with people who made you feel emotionally exhausted? This is the norm in dealing with people who are energy vampires. They tend to dominate conversations by focusing on their own personal issues and grievances, which leaves the room for genuine interaction or meaningful conversations. In a tense conversation with energy-hungry people, it is possible to find yourself acting as an ear and listening to their complaints and concerns but not reciprocating. They are often unable to demonstrate genuine interest in the thoughts and feelings of you because their attention is focused on their own issues. Therefore, conversations with energy vampires can be unfocused and draining emotionally. It is important to be aware of this phenomenon and establish limits to protect your well-being and energy. Sign 3. Energy vampires usually display an unrelenting absence of responsibility for their choices and behaviors. They can be blamed by others for their mistakes or refuse to accept the blame for their mistakes and continually make excuses for their behavior. The lack of accountability could be a source of frustration for those in their vicinity, as it creates a culture filled with resentment and discord. In addition, energy vampires can be able to deflect criticism and avoid acknowledging their own mistakes by shifting blame on other people. This doesn't just stop their growth and learning from their mistakes, but it keeps them in a loop of negativity and insecurity throughout their relationships. It's crucial to recognize this indication of an energy-hungry person and establish clear boundaries to avoid getting caught in their network of excuses and blame shifting. Sign 4. The use of emotional manipulation is a typical method employed by energy vampires in order to control and manipulate others who are around them. They can employ guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or other tactics of manipulation to achieve their goals to maintain control and power over their partners. It can leave the victim feeling lost, unimportant, and emotionally exhausted. In addition, energy vampires could employ emotional manipulation to extort other people for their own benefit or to gain attention, approval, or financial resources. They could play the victim to gain sympathy and support from others, even though they're actually causing the damage. It is crucial to be aware of these behaviors of manipulation and establish limits to avoid being exploited and manipulated by energy vampires. Sign 5. Energy vampires are prone to be chronic complainers and focusing on the things that are wrong instead of the right thing to do. They can be constantly vocal about their displeasures with different areas of their life, such as their jobs and relationships, to their finances and health. This constant complaining not just keeps a negative attitude in place, but also depletes the energy of the people who are around them. In addition, energy vampires can utilize chronic complaining as a method of seeking recognition and approval from other people. They might believe that by continually complaining they'll get acceptance and encouragement from the people close to them. But this continuous negativity can cause stress for others and create a climate of unhappiness and toxicity. It is important to recognize constant complaining as an indicator of an energy savage and establish boundaries to safeguard your emotional and mental well-being. It's normal to let out occasionally with frustrations, but chronic complaints can turn into a routine which perpetuates negativity and depletes the energy of everyone involved. Sign 6. Energy vampires usually thrive on turmoil and drama throughout their life, and they employ it as a way to draw respect and admiration from others. They can be constantly engaged in a plethora of conflict, gossip, and over-the-top emotional displays, creating an unstable and chaotic environment for their friends and family members. In addition, energy vampires can deliberately seek conflicts and drama in their relationships, since it provides them with a feeling of satisfaction and approval. They can cause trouble or exaggerate minor problems to create drama in situations where no drama is present, causing excessive stress and tension for their loved ones. Dramatic episodes not only drain the energy of the participants but can also create a toxic and emotionally charged environment. It's crucial to be aware of the signs of an energy vampire and establish boundaries to keep yourself from being entangled in the drama and chaos. If you can maintain a sense of tranquility and peace and stability, you will be able to protect your mental and emotional well-being from the negative effects of constant stress and drama. Sign 7. Energy vampires typically exhibit self-centered behavior, in which they put their own requirements and wants over the needs of other people. They are constantly seeking recognition, approval, and awe from the people in their lives, without taking into account the effect of their behavior on others. Additionally, energy vampires might lack empathy and are unable to be aware of the experiences and feelings of other people. They can dismiss or ignore the challenges of their fellows and focus on their own desires and requirements. This type of self-centeredness can be exhausting and disconcerting for those who are around them, since it causes an unbalanced relationships in the dynamic. It's crucial to be aware of self-centered behavior as a sign of being an energy savage and establish boundaries to prevent yourself from being swindled by. By focusing on your own requirements and well-being, you will stay out of the circle of someone who is only concerned about themselves. Sign 8. Energy vampires frequently adopt the position of the victim when they interact with others by using this as a tactic to attract attention and sympathy. They will often portray themselves as victims of their circumstances, while blaming others for their issues and refusing to accept responsibility for their actions. Additionally, energy vampires can utilize their victim cards to influence others around them to do their will, or to provide them with encouragement and a sense of validation. They might exaggerate their difficulties or make up stories of hardship in order to gain sympathy, and also gain control over other people. The constant victim mindset not only drains the energy of others who surround them, but also creates the cycle of toxicity and dysfunction in their relationships. It's crucial to recognize this type of behavior and establish limits to avoid being controlled by someone who is constantly playing the role of victim. If you maintain a sense of impartiality and refusing to allow their actions, you are able to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Sign 9. Energy vampires usually show a lack acceptance of personal boundaries and invade the emotional and physical space of others without consideration to their well-being or comfort. They can ignore warnings from their mouths or signals that indicate discomfort and persist in their actions even when requested to cease. Additionally, energy vampires can impose their own standards and demands on others, demanding that they meet their desires and needs in the absence of their individual independence. They can use guilt-tripping or manipulative methods to force people to comply with their desires, while ignoring their rights to establish limits and establish their own. The lack of boundaries can be stressful and emotionally draining for people who have to interact with energy vampires because it can cause a feeling of being suffocated and a sense of intrusion into their private lives. It is important to identify the signs of a vampire energy and clearly communicate your boundaries in order to safeguard yourself from being cheated of. By setting clear boundaries and applying them consistently, it is possible to safeguard your health and keep healthy relationships. Sign 10. Energy vampires are often involved in vampirism of emotion and feed on the emotions of others close to them in order to fulfill their personal desires. They might choose to seek out situations that are emotionally charged or trick others into feeling extreme emotions, such as sadness, anger, or fear to gain energy. Additionally, energy vampires can employ techniques of manipulation, including guilt-tripping and gaslighting, to create emotional reactions within their victims and to maintain the control of their victims. They could enjoy the chaos and drama created through these emotional interactions and use it to provide sustenance to maintain their emotional health. Emotional vampirism is draining and exhausting for people who are in contact with energy vampires, as they are left feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. It's crucial to recognize this behavior of manipulation and establish boundaries to prevent yourself from being manipulated emotionally. If you maintain a sense of emotional distance and refusing to engage in unhealthy emotional interactions, you will protect your emotional health from the ill effects of emotional lust. Sign 11. Energy vampires typically display an absence of compassion for others, showing no attention or concern for the experiences and feelings of others in their vicinity. They might dismiss or minimize the hardships of others and fail to acknowledge or accept their suffering and pain. Additionally, energy vampires can be selfish and naive and put their own needs and wants over the needs of other people. They might ignore the opinions of others to pursue their own agendas or employ manipulative strategies to take advantage of them to make money for themselves. This lack of empathy could cause harm and damage for those who are in contact with energy vampires, resulting in people feeling abandoned and neglected. It's crucial to recognize the signs of an energy vampire and establish limits to prevent yourself from being manipulated emotionally. By surrounded by compassionate and dependable people, you can protect your emotional health and avoid becoming a victim to the tricks of energy vampires. Sign 12. Controlling behavior. Energy vampires are often seen to exhibit an aggressive behavior in their interactions with others, attempting to influence and gain power over them to their own gain. They can employ manipulation or coercion tactics to assert their control and control the behavior and actions of others around them. Additionally, energy vampires can use passive-aggressive or subtle methods of control, including guilt-tripping, silence treatment, or emotional blackmail, in order to induce others to follow their desires. They might seek to control all aspects in their relationship, from decisions to social interactions, to keep an illusion of superiority and power. This behavior of control can make life difficult and exhausting for those who have to interact with energy vampires, making them feel isolated and helpless when they are around them. It's crucial to be aware of the signs of an energy vampire and to assertively declare your independence and autonomy. By setting limits and refusing to allow any manipulative or controlled behavior, you will protect your liberty and well-being. They may go to extreme efforts to make attention of their own personas, be it with dramatic shows as well as exaggerated narratives or outrageous actions. They love being in the spotlight and can feel empty or a sense of insecurity if they're not at the center of attention. In addition, energy vampires can utilize attention-seeking behaviors to trick people into giving them what they desire, whether it's love, appreciation, respect, or resources. They can be a victim, create unnecessary drama, or exaggerate their achievements to gain attention and approval from the people around them. The constant desire to be noticed can be exhausting and draining for those who are in contact with energy vampires, as it can create a situation where the energy vampire's wants and desires are in the forefront over all other people's. It is important to identify this symptom of an energy-hungry person and set limits to avoid being controlled and exhausted by their lust for attention. In the end, knowing the indicators that an individual is in the energy realm can be the initial step in securing yourself from their harmful impact. By setting clearly defined boundaries, expressing your own autonomy, and surrounded by positive and encouraging people, you can protect your health and energy from the depleting consequences on energy vampires. Be aware that you are entitled to have healthy and rewarding relationships that empower and lift you, and not drain you and make you feel drained.